Hello and welcome. Today, we're jumping into a topic that's not just knocking on the door of education, it's completely remodeling the house. We're talking about AI literacy and computational thinking. And trust me, this is about a lot more than just gadgets and code. It's about a fundamental shift in how we learn and solve problems.
And our guide on this journey is a really fantastic article by Damar Singh Saud, who's an assistant professor at the Far Western University. So right off the bat, we want to give a huge thank you to him for his incredible work, and also to Vidyarthi Media and Holistic Education for giving these vital ideas a platform. It's truly contributions like this that help move the whole conversation forward. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get to the heart of the core idea. Then we'll define what these concepts actually are. We'll break down the 6 pillars of this way of thinking, explore why it's so important for a place like Nepal, and finally, look at the path ahead. Ready? Let's get into it. So, the main argument here is pretty powerful. It's that AI literacy and computational thinking, they aren't just niche tech skills anymore. Nope, they are fundamental, interconnected abilities that every single one of us needs to make sense of the modern world, to tackle complex problems, and to create something new. Okay, but we're throwing around these big terms. What do they actually mean? Before we go any further, let's make sure we have a solid foundation. It's super important that we're all on the same page here. So first up, AI literacy. Now, this is so much more than just knowing how to type a prompt into an AI tool. It's really about understanding how these systems tick, using them well, and, this is the most important part, questioning what they give you and using them responsibly. It's about being a critical, thoughtful user, not just a passive one. And that leads us perfectly into computational thinking. Now, don't let the word computational throw you off. This is not just for coders. Think of it as a mental toolkit, a structured way of thinking that anyone can use to solve tough problems no matter what you do for a living. And this isn't some brand new idea. This quote from Jeanette Wang, a real pioneer in this field, says it all. She saw this as a way to design systems and even understand human behavior. For years, people have recognized this as a skill just as fundamental as reading, writing, and math. So that's the what, but how does it actually work in practice? Well, the article does a brilliant job of breaking computational thinking down into 6 practical pillars. Let's walk through them. Okay, first you have decomposition. That's just breaking a giant, messy problem into smaller, bite-sized pieces. The article uses a great example. A teacher wondering why students are struggling might break the problem down into things like curriculum, teaching methods, and student home life. Next is abstraction, basically ignoring the noise and focusing on what really matters. Algorithmic thinking is just creating a clear step-by-step recipe to solve it. Then you have pattern recognition, to spot trends, reflection to find and fix mistakes, what coders call debugging, and finally, evaluation, where you weigh your options to pick the very best solution. And you should know, this isn't just some academic theory. These ideas line up perfectly with global standards from huge organizations, like the International Society for Technology and Education, or ISTE. This framework is being woven into education systems all over the world because these are now seen as core skills for any modern learner. So let's bring this down to earth. How does all this theory apply in the real world? The article makes a really compelling case for how these skills could be absolutely transformational for a developing country like Nepal. This is where it gets really interesting. Now, here's the kicker. AI literacy and computational thinking don't replace our classic skills. They supercharge them. They directly boost the things we know are essential for the 21st century: critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. And these are exactly the skills we need to thrive in this 4th industrial revolution. And this slide just perfectly captures the huge shift that's needed. We have to move away from the old model of rote learning, just passively memorizing facts for a test, and move toward inquiry-based learning. That's where students become active builders of their own knowledge by asking questions, digging for answers, and using tools to discover things for themselves. This right here, this is such a critical point. The article makes it crystal clear that just training teachers on how to use a new app or a smartboard completely misses the point. The real mission is to change the entire mindset for both teachers and students to become more curious, analytical, and creative problem solvers. Okay, so that brings us to our final section. Where does all of this lead? What's the end game of adopting this new way of thinking? I just love this idea from the article. The ultimate goal here is to empower people, to help them move from being just passive consumers of whatever tech is handed to them to becoming active co-creators. These skills give people the power to not just use the tools, but to build, to innovate, and to actually shape the future of technology for themselves. And check out this ripple effect. When you master computational thinking, it creates this incredible cascade. It becomes the bedrock for so many other literacies that are essential today. Understanding data, navigating the digital world, sorting fact from fiction in media, it touches everything. But it's not just about building cool things. There's a huge ethical dimension here. The article makes the crucial point that these skills aren't just for making things that work, they're for making things that work for everyone. It's about using this way of thinking to build fairness, protect privacy, and create AI systems that are transparent and accountable. And so that's what we're left with, this final massive question. The article is really a call to action, pushing every one of us to think seriously about how we can truly transform our education systems. This isn't about adding one more class to the schedule. It's about reimagining learning from the ground up to prepare every citizen for a future that will, without a doubt, shaped by AI.